And coming up on this episode of the Marty Mariner Show, well, it's finals week for our women. How good is it just to even be able to say that? And we got a bumper episode that we put together for you to wind ourselves up, to get ourselves pumped for this massive game against Melbourne Victory on Sunday down in Melbourne. And the guest list, bit of a no-brainer, really. Who else would we get on the show? Then the gaffer, the boss, husband. She's going to join us to. We'll talk a little bit about how the season's panned out for her and the coaching staff and the team. What's been predictable and what hasn't. We're going to talk about this game on the weekend and finals football. Will it be a different approach by the team, and all it will be all out. It's a knockout situation, so we've got nothing to lose by going down there. And as I've said many a time, this team can beat anybody on their day. So looking forward to catching up with Em very shortly. Speaking about people I'd be looking forward to catch up with, well, I think arguably she's the best midfielder in the competition. Izzy Gomez joins us. We're gonna chat about her early years of playing, her journey coming to the Central Coast Mariners, how she's found it this year, and I'm sure she is looking forward to getting out there on Sunday against Melbourne Victory as well. And well, I wouldn't be able to have an episode about the finals of the women's football if it wasn't for the guy who's been pretty much a co-host for most of the time that we've had a bit of a chat, bit of a chinwag, a bit of a conversation about our women's team. Dan MacCamley from CoastFM963, the A team, who's been calling all of the home games for our women this year. He's going to drop by. We're going to have a bit of a chat, talk about the season a little bit, but mainly about how we think this game is going to go on Sunday. It's an absolute bumper episode. Looking forward to getting it started very, very shortly. Just a bit of a public service announcement. The Marty Mariner Show is on the move. We're changing location. So it'll be a couple of weeks before I can record again, but do not fear. Apart from this episode, we'll be going back to the vault to set up a couple of videos that we haven't had out there for a while. Bit of a look down memory lane, if you like. And so you won't be devoid of content. But yes, the next time you'll see the Marty Mariner Show, it'll look a little bit different in the background. Looking forward to getting that all set up. And trust me, the minute I can get the camera and the microphone working, you'll be hearing from me again. All right, let's not keep our guests waiting any longer. It's going to be an absolute cracker of an episode. Let's get it all rolling. The Marty Mariner Show. And welcome back to the Marty Mariner Show. What a massive week it is for our club, our mighty women's squad, heading on down to Melbourne to face Melbourne Victory in an elimination final. And who else? Who else would we get on the program than the gaffer, the head honcho, the big cheese herself, Emily Husband. Em, how are you doing, mate?
I'm really well, thank you, Marty. How about yourself?
Mate, it seems like an age since the women have played. I know we've had a couple of big men's games that have gone well past the 90 minutes in this last week or so, but it feels like forever. What's the thoughts of yourself? Has it been too big a gap? Was it good to have a bit of a space?
Yeah, I mean, obviously with us bringing that Western United game forward from the weekend just to the Thursday, it meant that we did have a little bit of break post-season, to sort of regroup and come back in. And I do think it was needed, just from the standpoint of, keeping everyone fresh. And it's been the longest season yet in the A-League. So I think, it was definitely a positive. I think it would have been ideal if we could have bounced from there straight into finals. Obviously that's not to be, and everyone's sort of had that same week off as what we have. And I guess in a lot of senses, it's a positive thing because it's given us longer to prepare. And obviously the more you can prepare and without going overboard, it gives you a longer period just to touch on things, and so you're not trying to cram as much information over the course of 2 to 3 training sessions. You can sort of slowly feed it in, and you hope then it has a better impact with the players. So yeah, look, like with everything, I always try to see the positive side of it, and I think it can only benefit us in terms of the mental rest that the girls will probably need after the long season, and yeah, just helping with the preparation as well.
Absolutely. And after that Western game too, because I know the girls were all out for the win, home semi and all that sort of stuff. Did that take a bit of talk afterwards to say, hey, you're right, but you know what? We're in the finals. We're in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, at the end of the game, I said to the girls, we wanted to win that game. That was, we went into that game with the intention to win it. Football's a funny game sometimes. All it takes is a team to get one moment, and that can change a game. But I didn't want to put a dampener on the overall season and what it is that we have achieved. But at the same time, I don't want us to take our foot off the gas either. So I said to the girls at the end of the game, look, yeah, it's a missed opportunity for us to get a home guaranteed home semi, but at the same time, we've made finals. It's been a fantastic achievement. We've got to keep our mind on and focus on getting to the grand final in whichever way that comes about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know we spoke a few times before the season started, but if I'd have said then you're going to finish fifth, 35 points, you're going to be in an elimination final against Melbourne Victory, knowing the strength of this competition, would you have taken it at that stage?
It's a tough one. Yeah, in some senses I would have. I still think we had a couple of missed opportunities this season. I think we've shown quality, and I think we've shocked a lot of teams. I think we could have finished higher at the table. But at the same time, I am proud of what we have achieved. And yeah, look, if you'd have said to me at the beginning of the season, look, you've got into finals in your first year, it's a really, really huge achievement for the girls. But as you know, the gaffer's never happy, right?
That's right. That's part. It's in the contract, isn't it? It's never going to be happy. Although, have we seen? I've never seen as many smiling husband photos in my life. I don't know what's going on here. Who is this woman? And I got to ask you too. I mean, you look at the teams that are in the six. I mean, Melbourne Victory themselves. We've had a draw and a narrow loss to. We've beaten Sydney. We've taken points off the other guys. There's no one in this top six on our day that we can't beat. Is that how you guys are looking at it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said that to the girls from the first day. We go into every game knowing that on our day we can beat anybody, and I fully back that. And yeah, we've not taken as many points off Melbourne Victory this year, I think, as we would have liked. There've been two really good competitive games, but I think the games that we have, we've shown that we can compete, and arguably Melbourne Victory this year are definitely the strongest on paper. So you could arguably say that they've in themselves underachieved, but that's again, it's two teams on paper, and on paper is one thing, and on pitch is another. So I think it'll be another close affair. The one thing we have learned about Victory over the years is that they are generally really good in finals, and can turn up in the big moments. But we've just got to make sure that we stick to our game plan, and that we come very best prepared. And I've got no reason at all to doubt that there'll be an upset.
Absolutely. And I mean, when we last spoke, I think it was like 5 months ago or something like that. We were talking about the Newcastle game, the very first game of the season, where probably nerves and the occasion probably overtook us a little bit there. What have we learned as a squad, do you think, that's going to stand us in better stead in this occasion than it maybe did at the start?
That's a really good question. I think the girls have all individually learned and grown throughout the season just to deal with, the number of people that we've had in the crowds this year. I think they have generally got better with that. And I think the girls have grown in confidence in the way that they want to play, and the style of play that we have. And I think, having so many 22 games under your belt now as one team, will already put you in a much better standing than after spending, when we look at that first game against Newcastle Jets at home, we'd only spent 7 weeks together at that point, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things. So now, you're looking at it 7 months down the line, and The girls have come a long way, not just in the way that they play, but in their individual attributes as well, and their strengths that they show, and the way that we operate as a team as well. So, yes, I have no doubt there'll be some nerves out there, and I think that's when you do tend to lean on your more experienced players in those moments. But I think once we settle into the game and we settle, I think the girls will be in full flight and full swing, and I think we'll be in a much better standing than what we were in that first round. It seems like a lifetime ago now.
That was actually when I was thinking about it, to go back and check the dates. I'm thinking, no, surely it was longer than that, but no, it was in the first round of the competition. I was watching that the Victory Sydney game, and Melbourne just came out the blocks and were just sensational from the start. And I mean, Sydney's performance is for them to analyse. But were you surprised with how that game went?
Yeah, look, I mean, in a sense, I wasn't, just because I think typically Melbourne Victory have always done well in pressure situations, and they have turned up in finals. And when they've had to show up, they have shown up, which, obviously for them, it'll beg the question, okay, well, why is that not the same attitude for the rest of the season? But, that's something for them to discuss. Obviously, again, we talk about football, we talk about moments. Obviously, Sydney FC had a couple of moments, obviously, Jada, reaching out and giving away a pen probably didn't help the flow of the game at the time. You're going from 1-0 down to 2-0 down that early on in a game. I think, it's a lot harder to bounce back from. So I think those moments, take a really big stand in. And I think in finals, it's really ensuring that players stick to the process and stick to what it is that they know, and sort of stay within their realm and control their emotions on the day. Because as we know, the higher pressure that's on game day, the more stakes are there, then people do tend to sometimes do things that are abnormal outside their personality. So I think it was probably a twofold thing, really, that Melbourne Victory came flying out the blocks, but I don't I think Sydney FC probably maybe didn't help themselves in some respects, but they still created chances, they still had opportunities, and so like I said, I have no doubt that we will do the same. It's just a matter of, on the day, can we take these chances that we do create?
Yeah, and has that been I use the word frustration, but we've had some games where we've defended really well, we've created, we just haven't put away those. Has that been the major part of this year? You've gone, if we can finish this, we'd be killing this competition by a mile.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our defensive record speak for itself. Having conceded the second least goals in the league in our first year, probably also speaks a lot about my style and the type of player I like as well. But I think sometimes part and parcel of being that little bit more defensively structured is that, there's times where if we don't capitalize on things, we're not always going to create, between 15 to 25 chances in a game. And, some teams find that clinical edge, and that comes down to, I guess, what momentum your forwards are in at the time, and where they are within the season and within their career. And it's only something you can continue to work on. And, you look at it as well. And I think, from the very best teams, goals have kind of got to come from everywhere. And I think where everybody in a sense have played their part this season, I think, I think there's still players that have got a lot more to come, and I think, as we grow and as we go into next season, they'll sort of, I think we'll see that in them. But obviously having Kaya coming back from injury later on in the season has certainly helped us going forward, and takes that little bit of pressure off, an Unna and a Roller. And because obviously them two have been the main two players that have put the ball in the back of the net. And to be fair to them, that there's been games where they've not had many chances. I look back at the goal that Roller took against Melbourne City, where we didn't create that many chances, but the one chance we did create, she took. And obviously there's been games where we've created 3 or 4 chances, and they've not quite gone our way. And that again is just sometimes it's just that understanding in the moment of the technique and the choice of where to take the shot and things like that. And we can only keep refining on that. And I think we will continue to do so, and continue to work on improving these players. But I think there's certainly a good chunk of the girls that have really played their part in what the goals that we have scored this year.
Yeah. And I mean, is there, I mean, I know you talked about, playing style that you like to coach to and all that. Which player in the squad would typify the way you play more than anything else? I mean, I'm guessing maybe a Faye Bryson or a Paige Hayward type take no crap type player. Would that describe the way that you play more than anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly do like a player that will do anything to win the ball back, and I think we've got quite a few of them across the team. I look at our back line when it comes to last ditch defending, willing to throw the body in front of the ball. Both Faye and Annabelle come to mind. So does Ash Irwin, so does Taryn King when she's there.
Yeah.
They're all those type of defenders, and obviously, yeah, you look higher up the pitch, and Paige, typically will do anything to win the ball back as well. And, you look at the number of interceptions this year that Izzy Gomez has won back as well.
Yeah.
Although she might not be a typical defender where it comes to, slide tackles and last ditch defending, she knows how to win the ball back through little nicks and getting a foot in front. And they've been pivotal to us this year. You look at there's been a couple of goals that have started with Gomez just nipping the ball in the midfield and then just creating something in front of her. So I think there's probably quite a few players that typify the type of player that I do naturally like. And I even look at Una and Roller from the front and defending from the front that just relentlessly will work up there. And sometimes I look at Una and I'm like, I'm not too sure how she can continue to run, but she will. She'll continue to press and work from the front, and it's so important to how we break teams down, because whereby with a press and things like that, you probably won't win the ball in that defensive third, but just because they're putting defenders under more and more pressure, they're more likely to make a mistake, whereby we can win the ball back in the mid third to back third and then go forward from there. So I think there's certainly a number of players across the team, and it doesn't just come out in games as well. You see it week in, week out in training as well, where players are just willing to throw their body on the line to protect whatever it is that they're trying to protect for that training session. And for me, I love it, because I think it's really, really hard to teach that tenacity and that desire to want to win the ball back. A lot of players now like the ball at feet, like to play the passes through, things like that. But you really can't teach that tenacity.
No, absolutely, and we love to see it too. It's talking with Dan very, very recently, MacCamley from CoastFM. We weren't talking quite dark arts and stuff, but the little niggle, there's nothing wrong with that. And just with the squad too, I mean, I think I've never seen a squad that has been so blessed with goalkeepers in ever, because you've got Dumont, you've got Langman, we had Newbon at the start, we've got Carmichael. I better throw Ash Irwin in there, otherwise she'll get upset as well. But being able to, it's not traditionally, I guess, a position that gets rotated that much. That must have been a tough juggle this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it was something that I desired to do right from the beginning. Everyone for me has always had to, on the field, it's natural that everybody has to compete for their position. And there's typically reasons why we'll rotate players in and out, whether that's tactical, whether that's, the attributes that they have that they'll bring for us in the game, whether it's something that we see from the opposition we can exploit, whether it's something that we see within our game that we want to change, whether that's, playing with a 3, playing with a 4. And for me, that shouldn't stop with the goalkeepers as well. And again, you can look at it and go, it's a little bit experimental of me. And you've got to have, 2 goalkeepers that are willing to compete week in, week out. And both Sarah and Casey have done that fantastically well and dealt with the situation well. Because like every single player on the pitch, they want to play week in, week out. But I think, between the 2 of them, they can give us a different look and a different feel to the team, dependent upon what it is that is best for the team going into that weekend's game. And, I think they've both, improved out of sight, out of mind this season, because they've had that constant pressure on them, week in, week out. And, our goalkeeper coach, Steve's done a fantastic job with them as well. And, obviously I've got to give him a mention, because I know it's not always, the easiest job juggling, quality goalkeepers and trying to, constantly improve them as well. But, look, we've been really lucky, and, not many clubs have done this before. And, majority of A-League clubs look outside of the window and go, into international goalkeepers. But, I believe that we have got the quality within Australia, and we should be, giving the game time to Australian goalkeepers. I guess we just, in a sense, got lucky that we got the quality that we did this season. And like I said, they've done really well with it.
Absolutely. And it's best thing about it is it keeps the opposition guessing because they'll absolutely have no idea who'll be involved against them every single week. So that's probably the best bit about it too.
Yeah.
So just for the regular part of the season, I know we've got the final to come, but for yourself, Em, what's been the thing that you've probably learnt the most about yourself as a coach this year?
I think, look, I think it's an ever evolving question, to be honest, Marty. I think there's, I've always found that there's areas as a coach that you always find considerably harder than others, and those are always the areas that you've got to really focus on improving. Coming from a youth football background, I have a tendency to sort of overcare about the players, not, from a standpoint that, obviously I want every single one of them to play, and if I could turn up every week and play 23 players, I absolutely would. But unfortunately, that's not part and parcel of the job, and where we want to be competitive. I always want to make sure that every player knows and feels that they're valued. I think for me, personally, just from a growth point of view, being in a situation where I've had to make decisions solely based on my own thoughts. Previously, I've been in head coaching roles where a lot of the recruitment's been done. A lot of the processes have already been in place. Everything has already been there. There's not too much. You kind of come into the role. Whereas this year, just having, all the decisions to make and trying to create something from scratch has forced me to have to make decisions. And I'm typically the worst decision maker ever because I have a tendency to overthink. And when you don't have that time to overthink, you then really just got to go with your gut instinct. And I've got better at going with my gut instinct and trusting my gut instinct. And if I get it wrong, and it's a learning moment from me, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the next time that situation comes, I will immediately go against my gut, but it's always then just that extra consideration. But I think just trusting myself a little bit more at times, and likewise, I always want to have a growth mindset, and I want to get better as not just as a coach, but also as a person. And I really value feedback from whether it's from the players, whether it's from coaching staff, or whether it's external. I'm always happy to take that feedback on because ultimately the only way you're going to get better is by receiving that feedback, reflecting on it, and improving on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've seen a few times, sort of, Jacko coming into the men's squad in a similar vein coming in. I know you probably spoke. Have you had many opportunities during the season to be able to catch up and talk a bit of football and share experiences of this club with palm trees and sauce bottles?
Yeah, no, me and Jack we've had a few times to sit down, and it's been really, really good to have him just there, and to sometimes, just bounce things off, or get a little bit of reassurance. I think sometimes when you come from, I look at Jacko, and he came through my hometown club that I supported. So, anybody from there I've kind of always idolized, because that's what, I've looked to have been the best of the best my whole life, because it's my hometown club.
Sure.
So, getting chance to just sit down with Jacko and pick his brains has been, really, really good for me. And he's never short of time for me, and I've always appreciated that. He's been down to our training session and put his head in and said hello, and he's had me up at their training, and we've sat down, we've had coffees, and similar to Monty, he's got that open door policy where, anytime that I want to chat, or even if there's anything that he needs to lean on me for, he always knows he's more than welcome, and likewise. So I think that also helps with that sort of whole club approach as well. That everyone tends to get behind each other and back each other, and we have that one club feel around the club, not necessarily that we're operating in the same way. I think obviously myself and Jacko will always be two very different coaches with their ideology and how we want to play, but football's football at the end of the day, and having that ability to open up a conversation with somebody whenever you need them is fantastic. And yeah, Jacko's a great guy.
Absolutely, and there's many a happy Mariners fan at the moment when we look at our women's and our men's team. It's been a fantastic season all around. Thanks so much for your time again tonight in the week leading up to such a massive game. It's greatly appreciated. All the best for Sunday. Looking forward to speaking to you again after that game with our up games. Well, the games will be coming up after that. And yeah, all the best, mate. Bring back not the 3 points. Bring back a win. That'll be great.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marty. And again, obviously, thank you for all the great work you do getting us out there. It's really appreciated. So take a little bit of credit on yourself as well. And we'll be sure to be thinking of you out there, and hopefully we can come back home with a win and get a game on the coast next weekend.
Sounds like a plan to me, mate. You take care.
Thanks, Marty.
See you, mate. Yes, welcome back to the MartyMariner show. And we wouldn't be able to have a special episode of our finals for the women's football if we didn't have this fella. He's part of the Coast FM Legends, 963, the A team. Dan MacCamley, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm fantastic, mate. Really looking forward to the weekend. It's a real shame they're not hosting a final. They were so close to hosting that home final, the women. But at the end of the day, they've made that top six, and it's anybody's game now.
Absolutely, and it's crazy how tight that top six has become. It came down to the last round, and draws that could have been wins and wins that ended up being draws have totally reshaped that top six. If we'd have said at the start of the year about where we finished this year, do you think we would have given it a tick and gone, yeah, we're more than happy with that?
Oh, mate, for sure. And look, I'm sure Emily Husband and the girls are shooting for the stars, but to be a new team into this competition, in a red hot competition as well, with some pretty good teams in it, and to play the way that they've competed in just about every game that they've been in, to finish inside that top six is an outstanding achievement. As I said, I'm sure that the team and the club were shooting for the stars, but again, it's a Mariners thing. Not many people gave them a chance, and they've punched above their weight, and now they're in the big dance.
Absolutely. It's the old hashtag believe going again, isn't it? Let's just put up the table of where we finished this season in the regular season. Finished fifth, 22 games played, 110, drew 5, lost 7, 35 points, which is a decent total when you're talking about 22 games. 31 goals for, 24 against, plus 7 goal difference as well. Dan, do you think, I look at the successes that we've had this year, and obviously, and I'm in the same boat, making finals is just outstanding. But I go back to, and I was looking through the results this afternoon, there are a number of those games that draws that just could have been and maybe should have been wins, and even losses that we probably should have held on for. As great as it's been, it probably could have been another step or two further up, right?
Yeah, to finish 1 point off third, essentially. You look back at a lot of those games, even the final game against Western United, a game where the Mariners dominated for large parts of that game, especially in that first half, and just couldn't find a way through, couldn't find the back of the net. It really came back to bite them. In the end, you thought Annalise Rasmussen's goal was going to be enough, and then the equaliser came late on, and a lot of missed chances in that game, and you think back to a lot of the games this season where it might have been a 1-0 win or a 1-1 draw, and you just think, geez, if they had taken their chances, they could have finished, with even more points further up the table and either hosting a final or maybe even in that top two. So whilst I'll be happy with the season that they've had, it'll be a lot of what ifs if they don't come away with the championship at the end of it.
Absolutely. And in those games too, I think a lot of them, to me, just broke down to that final third of the field. We've defended really well. The engine room in the middle was pumping really well. That final pass seemed to be it, isn't it? And Kaya Simon came in and started playing some decent balls around there too with her introduction. But do you think it's just that last third, that last pass is the one thing that we wish we'd have just done that bit better this year?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think they would have liked to have scored more goals. Defensively, they were great. Probably got one of the best goalkeepers in the competition as well. They were outstanding in the midfield. I really liked Galich and Gomez in the middle of the park. They were ever-present, ball-winning midfielders, wouldn't back down from a challenge. Just the final third, and I know they scored goals. I know Ergamal scored 8 goals this season. Badawia got 7, but geez, both of those players could have been in double figures if they could have taken a few more of those chances. And I think it'll be something that they look back on this season and think they'll be proud of what they achieved. And as I said, unless they win the championship, I think they'll look at it and go, geez, we missed some chances and we probably should have won this competition.
Yeah. And if you're husband at the end of the season, let's just move forward past finals, wherever we end up, and you've got that open checkbook, and where's the first place that you're looking to bring someone in? Is it in that striker role?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would help having Kaya Simon for a full season, fully fit, ready, raring to go. I think she's made a great impact since she's come into the team, and I think with every performance, you can see her ability to link up with her teammates is improving with every performance. I think coming into the team when she did, it was hard for her to assimilate into a team that was doing so well. And of course, she shines. She's a quality player, but I think as the games have gone on and the more game time she's gotten, I think she's certainly improving in that aspect of her game, and her link-up play is really starting to show with those forward players around her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned goalkeepers before too. I mean, I've never known any squad that has had the depth. You look at the goalkeepers this year. I mean, Dumont, Langman, Carmichael, Newbon there for a little while too. Even Ash Irwin, if you want to throw her in as well, she was an absolute classic.
I'm sure she would like to be thrown in there. Yep.
We can say we've had 5 keepers this year. What have you made? Because Emma's, swapped the keepers around a bit, especially between, Langman and Dumont. They've sort of, they've sort of been in, been out. How have you seen that? Because I know coaching-wise or even in club-wise, you generally have your number one and then you go from there. Whereas we've kind of man of the match performance kind of thing, but then swapped over. How have you seen all that go?
Yeah, look, as a former goalkeeper, you like to be that number one. You like to have that number one on your back, the backing of the coach, the coaching staff, the players around you. You like to feel like you own that jersey. I can't imagine what those 2 women have been through this year as goalkeepers. They've both played so well, and I get why Husband's done it. It's probably the one position on the field where you don't see rotation.
Yeah.
And they've managed to get away with it for a large part because of the performances of the 2 girls in goal. So for mine, I'm not a fan of it. I feel like you need stability in that position and across the back line, and they really start to work together and form a cohesive unit. But look, the Mariners have gotten away with it. Yeah. And Emily Husband, to her credit's made the most of 2 outstanding goalkeepers, and she's done a good job of keeping them both in that first team. And if anything were to happen to one or the other, both of them have got plenty of matches under their belts and are ready, raring to go.
Exactly. If they both go down, we've got Ash Irwin again. So how good is that? So speaking of which, who is your goalkeeper that you picked this weekend?
I think for mine, I've got to go with Casey Dumont. I think of the 2, she's been impressive. Her save percentage is right up there in the top of the league. I thought it was a little bit of a shock to see Sarah Langman in that final game. I thought maybe that would be, that you pick your best 11 and you go for that win and try and get that home final. And for mine, Casey Dumont's in my best 11. And, that may differ from other people's opinions, but, she's been really good this season when she's gotten her chances. And I think she'll be the goalkeeper heading into that first week of the finals.
Yeah. Well, as much as totally rate Casey as well, but I'm a Sarah Langman fan, so I know one of us will probably be right, mate. So that'll make you sound like an expert. So we'll go.
Unless Ash Irwin's playing in goals, and then
we'll
make us look like fools.
Hold the phone. Here we go. Exclusive. I don't think ever do that, but anyway, you never know. You never know. She's there if we need to. And speaking of Ash, because obviously the injury to Taryn King was massive for us in that back line, not only because of the position that she plays, but the experience, and you could just see that non-stop talking. That combination she had with Ash, I for one was really worried at the start when that first happened. I was like, how are we going to, you can't replace this kind of player. We seem to hang on there, but Taryn's, even as successful as we've been, Taryn's a massive miss out of this squad.
Oh, huge. She was outstanding at the start of the season, really led from the front, for lack of a better term, but a great leader on the pitch, and, always happy to have a chat off it as well and really promote the team. And it was a shame to see her go down. She was playing so well. And yeah, you thought, well, maybe that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. When you lose your captain, your leader like that.
Yeah.
But to the girls' credit, they've really rallied, and
Yeah.
Tiana Karambassis has been outstanding. She's come into that back line.
Yeah.
Somebody that goes a little bit unheralded for mine, Paige Hayward. I think she's been great, and Jasmine Wardlow at left back. She's been an absolute star at left back. I was a bit not worried, but when I saw Jasmine wasn't playing left back in that game against Western United, and Em husband had tinkered a little bit, I thought, oh no, don't move her from there. She's been outstanding the whole season, and she reverted back there throughout the game, which was good to see. I think she's really important for the Mariners in this finals push.
100%. And I mean, we can't leave Faye Bryson out of the conversation as well, because I think she's been outstanding. I've said to many a person who chats to me about the Mariners, men's or women's team, if there was one person I would not pick a fight with, it would be Faye Bryson, because just the way she plays, and just there's the sneaky little dark arts things that I see, and I just absolutely love and adore. I mean, commentating those home games, you must see them clear as day too. She's an absolute fighter, right?
Yeah, you've got to have a little chuckle sometimes. And look, it doesn't matter who she's coming up against. What quality of player or what size of player. She never backs down from a challenge, whether it be a 50-50 or a header. And as you said, there's a few little laughters every now and then, but she's just got that dog in her, that mongrel, that willingness to fight for every scrap, every bone. And she's been great on that right-hand side. And, she getting forward as well. She's been important for the team. She gets into good areas and can put a good ball into the box as well. So, yeah, look, the whole back line's been impressive, but for mine, Jasmine Wardlow and Faye Bryson on the two flanks have really helped the Mariners, not only defensively, but when they've got the ball, they push forward and help out in attack as well.
No, 100%. And I guess moving forward into midfield, I mean, for me, not the secret to our success, because I think everyone knows it, but for me, Galich and Gomez, as you mentioned at the start, it's funny how even when they've not been playing together, that one has stood up more. I mean, I know Galich has had a couple of games where she stood up and done her thing, and then Gomez, but to me, together, they're just the quintessential pairing in that middle of the park, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and they love a scrap. Again, a couple of girls in there that love a scrap, and they never back down. And the form that Bianca Galich is in has seen her called up for the national team for Croatia. So an outstanding season for her. Yeah. Isabel Gomez has been great in the middle of the park as well. And not only when they win the ball, they know what to do with it as well. They'll win the ball in good areas, and then they'll know to switch the play and open up the park, or they'll know to play forward. So they've been great in the middle of the park, and they're going to be a big key on the weekend. This Melbourne Victory side is coming in red hot form, and I think it starts by stopping that supply to the front third. And I think Bianca Galich and Isabel Gomez are going to have a big job to do on the weekend.
No, absolutely. And I mean, and talking of victory on the weekend, I mean, we've drawn against them this year, and they've narrowly beat us. I think they got a last minute winner down in Melbourne. I was a little bit shocked, maybe. The game against Sydney, they came out all guns blazing, and maybe I shouldn't have been shocked, because I know they're a talented outfit, but the results surprised me. The way they started surprised me. Do you think it was a little bit of shell shock, Sydney big occasion kind of thing, although they've been there, done it before? Or was it just Melbourne Victory doing their thing?
Yeah, look, inexplicable from Sydney. Everything to play for. I know both teams had everything to play for, but Sydney to try and lift that Premier's plate, and just Melbourne Victory were too good for them on the day. And geez, they come into it in some form. Marty, of all the teams that I thought the Mariners could play, I think at home, if the Mariners were at home against Melbourne Victory, I'd be, yeah, here we go. Like, the Mariners will take this one. But geez, it's 50-50 for mine down there, traveling down to Melbourne. They'll have plenty of support down there, the Victory. And hopefully a few Mariner supporters will make their way down as well to support the girls. But it's going to be a tough ask for the team to go up against a Melbourne Victory side. It's star-studded, Marty. They've got stars all over the park, and they're in red-hot form. It's going to be a tough out on Sunday.
Yeah. And if there's one area in particular you think, I mean, for me, I think it's all going to be about the start of the game. If an early goal possibly, or a lot of pressure, might take the crowd out of it, set the game. But what is it for you that you think we just have to do really, really well if we're going to get a result?
Oh, defend. I think they're going to have to defend really, really well. And there's been a couple of moments in the season, as well as the Mariners have defended, there's been a couple of moments within the season where they've given up cheap goals, a cheap turnover at the back, a silly mistake in midfield, and it's cost them dearly. I think if they can eradicate that from their game, if they can get out of the game without making one of those errors and essentially gifting Melbourne victory a good chance or a goal, I think they'll go a long way to winning the game, because defensively they've been great. And the Mariners are going to create chances. They haven't scored as many goals as they'd like, but they do create chances. So it's going to come down to whether or not they can take them.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think, I mean, they must go down with some confidence too, because as I said, they have taken a point off Melbourne during the year. They've drawn with Melbourne City during the year. They've had a good result against Western. They've beaten Sydney. It's a really tight competition. It's going to come down to on the day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And one thing Emily Husband's done so well this season is change things up. There's two different types of coaches. One coach will just stick to their game plan. They'll play the way that they want to play, and other teams have to adapt to them. Yeah. Emily Husband, for mine, is somebody that looks at the other team and goes, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Yeah. How do we nullify their strengths, and how do we exploit their weaknesses? And she's done it so well throughout the season against many different opponents. I can think back to a Melbourne City game at Central Coast Stadium where they sat so deep for the first 25 or 30 minutes, and you thought, geez, they're going to park the bus here for 90 minutes. And then all of a sudden, with the flick of a switch, off they went on the attack, and they were playing a completely different brand of football, and it caught Melbourne City by surprise. So I think Emily Husband will have a game plan. I think she'll have a strict game plan that she's going to want to follow, especially for that opening 15, 20 minutes. And if she can get out of there at 0-0, I think it'll be all guns blazing from then on.
Be all happening, because, I mean, you've been around the team a lot too. One thing that stood out for me from absolute day one is how tight a bunch these girls are. I mean, you even see it at training sessions, just the high fives. They are just all in this together. And it must be, you look at the people who are probably going to miss out even being in the squad to play this weekend. There's been some really good players who haven't even made it into the 15, 16. So, to keep it that tight, that's credit to Emily too, because as you mentioned about the goalkeepers being one thing, but you even trying to pick the midfield this weekend, there's going to be some people who are going to miss out, and it's hard to manage.
Yeah, it would be, and it's a Central Coast Mariners thing, isn't it? You look at the men's side, and whenever they've had success, it's been because they've been a tight-knit group, and they all go to the same coffee shops or restaurants for lunch, or they all do the same things pre and post game. It's the same with the women as well this year. When you've got a team, when you look at the Mariners team on paper, it's probably not as star-studded as a few of these teams in the finals. But when you've got a team that is together and playing well together, that can make all the difference. You can have your stars, you can have your 10, 15 goals a year strikers, but when you've got a team playing together and playing well, that can nullify that.
Yeah, and all may it continue as well. So let's get a score prediction from you, mate. How do you think we're going to go?
I'm expecting goals. I'll go 2-2 at full time.
Oof.
And then into extra time. And then into penalties. I'll go 3-3 at the end of extra time. And I'll go Casey Dumont to save 2 penalties and the Mariners win.
Wow. Get on that in Sportsbet, mate.
Have a look at Sportsbet. I'm not. You could write your own ticket with that one, but I like goals, Marty, and I like to be positive. I like to think that the girls can go down there and get the job done. They've played well enough this season to do it, so I'm going to back them to get the job done in a tight one and in penalties.
Absolutely, and as much as we obviously advocate for responsible gambling here on the MartyMariner Show, a couple of dollars on that, because if that comes in, we'll be able to fly out and see the men playing the AFC Cup final. How good would that be too?
In a private box as well.
Absolutely. Don't forget where you saw it here first. Give us a call. Just a quick diversion too, mate. Commentary this year for the women's game. Normally, we hear you on the sideline for the men's. That's a particular skill in doing that. But getting up in the commentary box and working with Kat, how have you found that bit different to being on that sideline?
Yeah, it has been. I love it, Marty. I've been trying to sort of break into the league calling role for a while now. I've done a few things with a group called Bar TV, some local football and rugby league and the like a few years back. That got me my chance with the A team, and Trent and Luke, I thank them very much for the opportunity to sit on that sideline. And then when Trent asked me if I'd be interested in lead calling the women's competition, mate, I jumped at it. It's an outstanding opportunity. I thank Trent for the faith that he's shown in me to give me that opportunity. And I know Luke and Trent have both filled in a couple of times when I've been unavailable, and Kat's been great. She's really come along this season, and she's growing with every call that she does. And Gab as well. Gab's been great when she's been able to be there, and both of their insights have been outstanding. So it's been a real honour to be asked to do it, and I'm enjoying every minute of it, and long may it continue.
Absolutely. And don't forget, mate, I'm still on the subs bench, mate. You got to put me in, coach. I'm ready. But it's been absolutely great, mate. As I said, I'm big fans of the A team, especially listening to you guys with the men's for all the years. But to see you doing the home games as well for the women's as well, it's just fantastic. And hopefully one day we get you out there for the away games as well. How good with that?
Yeah, we'll be heading down this weekend. So looking forward to calling from down there in Melbourne.
Nice.
It's going to be a nice little road trip. And the boys will be off to Tarneet to call the Western United game on the Saturday. So I get the Saturday off, and I'm rostered on Sunday double time, mate. So I'm looking forward to it.
Sunday rates, everyone loves them. Dan MacCamley, thanks so much for joining us, mate. Thanks for everything that you've done this year. I'm sure we'll get to them before the end of the year comes around. Have a safe trip to Melbourne, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks, Marty, and good luck to the girls on the weekend.
Absolutely. And welcome back to the Marty Mariner Show. And I told you we had a bumper guest list on our show for this evening. And with a massive game of the weekend, we had to have a chat to this young lady. She's as elusive off the field as she is on it. Izzy Gomez, welcome to the Marty Mariner Show. How are you going, mate?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me. Doing good. No
problem at all, mate. It's awesome to see to have a bit of a chat in this such a big week for us, coming with the elimination final this weekend. But first of all, tell me, what's your first footballing memory? What's the first memory you got of kicking the round ball?
First memory that comes to mind would probably be back in primary school. I was always that one girl playing with all the boys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that will probably be my first football memory. Yeah, it would just be me, even my brothers as well, and we just kick a ball around with all the kids and stuff.
Absolutely. Best way to learn, I reckon, when it's 25 aside and stuff like that. It's also
exactly.
You learn how to get a few players, and I see it when you're playing out there. I can see where that comes from now, which is awesome.
That's where it all started.
Absolutely. And when did you first start playing, as in competition?
So I first started playing around 7, but my mum wasn't really into that. She was more into me getting into dancing and all that, but it took a different turn. And then that was probably maybe 12. Then played for a local club. Then got into the Institute, which was my first NPL club. Oh, actually, Tigers was my first, and then switched to Institute. Was at Institute for like a couple of years, and then back at Tigers.
After the Tigers, because it sort of went between the Tigers and the Knicks for a while there too. But in those early years, because I've read that you played a fair bit of centre back as well.
Yeah, I have. I did a few recently at Tigers, which I don't mind centre back. I actually don't mind it at all. So it's good to get 2 positions in. So it's
absolutely.
Good.
I mean the versatility in our squad. I mean, you can play centre midfield, centre back. We've got Ash Irwin who can play centre back, goalkeeper. We've got a few positions covered.
Unexpected, but it works. So
3 points in the bag. I mean, it's fantastic, isn't it? So,
it was a good game, that one.
Oh, it was sensational. Well, probably better for us watching it than you guys running around out there, because it was terrible conditions as well. But it was the differences between, like, in your game. Like, I can see that when you got the ball at your feet, you like to take players on, whereas centre back seems to be more of a disciplined kind of hold the shape kind of thing. Is that something you find natural? Is there one that you kind of prefer? What's the natural Izzy Gomez kind of position?
Yeah, no. I feel like people do see me, if I am a centre back, I'm always seeming to drive somehow, but it's probably be more disciplined. But I reckon sticks is definitely a position that I enjoy, getting the ball, playing it, and then driving as well when I can. So I really do enjoy that position. So
yeah, I know we enjoy seeing you play it as well. How did you get the first with the first time you went around with the Wellington Phoenix? How did all that come about for you?
So Gemma Lewis, which was the coach, she had reached out to me, and I had nothing. Had no idea the Wellington Phoenix were, or like even the coaching staff. So yeah, she called me and then we had a chat, and yeah, that's just where it started. So it was good. Yeah.
Well, was it a bit of a culture shock in essence, going from playing from where you were to going into an A-League team? It would have been a bit of a different setup, right?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. It was a big change, but no, I really did enjoy it as well. So I was there for 2 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm lucky because I got injured the second year at Wellington, so that was a bit hard for me because I was away as well in New Zealand, so that was really difficult. But yeah, no, I did enjoy my first season there, so got some good game time, and yeah, enjoyed it with the girls and all.
And I guess some good memories there too. Are there still players that you still catch up with and still stay in contact with?
Yeah, no, I do talk to a fair few, a couple, yeah, and I'm close with one, Mona Walker. I don't know if you know, but pretty close to Mona.
Yeah, have to bring them all over as well because always expanding our squad as well. And what about the Central Coast Mariners? Because we've spoken to Emily a couple of times and said she must have opened up the laptop and said, right, I've got to build a squad. How did it end up that Izzy Gomez went from the Wellington Phoenix to the Central Coast Mariners?
Well, I did reach out to Em first because I did. I kind of wanted to be back at home because after New Zealand, I didn't really, wasn't really in the right headspace or anything. I was like, better come home, hopefully find an A-League team here. And I heard new team, like I thought it was a perfect opportunity. So I reached out, and yeah, it was probably the best decision I've made. So I'm really pleased I did. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Best decision. Well, we certainly reckon it's the best decision anyway. How many coffees did it take to get on Emily's side? Or did you have to get a bottle of wine or so to get her to sign? How did that work?
Couple of wines, and yeah, we got there. But
yeah.
Well, it was actually pretty easy. She's great. She's a great coach and a great person as well. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because every time we've spoken to the girls in the team and they've spoken highly of Emily in her coaching, and not just the tactical, the football side, but that that man management side, I guess, the working with the squad. What is it? What is that best thing that you find about Emily's coaching?
Yeah, there's one thing that I do really highly rate of her is the way she coaches as well, and just the amount of knowledge she has as a coach is I've never really had a coach like that. So, and just adapting to new structure, the playing style, and all that. It's good for me and my experience as well. Just learning new positions, So yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in the role that you're playing in that sort of midfield role, did she get overly tactical with you and say, right, this, or did she say, get the ball, do what you like, you know what you're doing?
Yeah, she's more. Yeah, it's more free like that. Get the ball, do what you do, and we trust in what you do, and I really appreciate the way she does it. So.
Absolutely, and we've noticed those, or we've spoken about it during the season too, about those 30-yard bombs going in from a mile away. Is that something that you've been practicing? Because I'm sure that I know we've been talking about it a lot, but I reckon there's been some firing off where I reckon even Emily's going, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to get myself on the score sheet again. Even my mum was like, get out, practice more. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I've been practicing. So just trying to put it on the field as well now. So hopefully you can get one in. So we'll see.
Well, this weekend will be absolutely great. And I've sat behind your family a few times and they've seen it, and I've seen them shaking their heads going, what's going on out there? But I'm sure it's all love. I'm sure it's all in a positive spin and
just
stuff
trust
like
the process. It'll happen.
Absolutely. It's a time thing, right? And get one this Sunday, and I think everyone will be cheering for it too. And speaking of that role that you play, you've formed this really great partnership with Bianca Galich in the middle end. You guys played together before? Because it just seems so natural the way you guys feed off each other.
No, I've never played with her, but I'm always against her. I do remember it's in uni. She was always a great player, and I'm lucky to have her next to me. I feel like we're just so similar, and we just don't really have to say anything. We just know off our movement and stuff. It just works out, and we're just good working together and reading each other's movement. It's really good.
Yeah, and it does. It just does seem really natural. It's almost like you've got the same playbook that you're going to. It just also seems quite instinctive too. And I think there's a lot of Bianca that plays in a similar way to you, right? It's sort of like when she goes and does her thing, you'll cover, and vice versa.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one thing Em says. Just one goes, the other one sits, and we work well like that. And
absolutely. And now we're seeing her doing 30-yard bombs as well. So it's all rubbing off.
On target, so she's doing one more.
Oh, you can both hit a ball. I love it. I think it's just fantastic. Fantastic to see. And turning up at the Mariners too, because obviously you would have seen on the TV the men's team playing there with the palm trees, the sauce bottles, the Viking walking up and down a sideline called Marvin. What was it like that first game? I think it was against Newcastle in the season opener.
Yeah.
You run out, crowd seeing all that, you know, like, I've seen this on the TV. That must have been a bit surreal, right?
Yeah, no, it was. It was like the field is amazing, and the atmosphere, the crowd that was there as well, just made it that bit better as well. Yeah. So just walking out was amazing. The scenery, the palm trees, like you said, it was really awesome.
Yeah, there's certainly no other ground like it. And
no, exactly. Best.
I can't say the world because I haven't seen every single ground. I know there's none in Australia just like it and stuff like that.
No, definitely not.
And what is it that I mean, you know, all clubs have their pros and cons, and I'm sure that, you know, Wellington have their good parts. But what is it about the Mariners that most impressed you when you first turned up?
I feel like the culture at Central Coast is really just special. Yeah. And, you know, you don't really get much like it at other clubs. So, I feel like the people there is just like, you know, you wouldn't want to replace anyone there because, you know, everyone does a part of the team and just does their job, which makes it, you know, just you want to be there and want to train hard and work for each other. So, just the team culture I really do admire with the club.
Yeah, because I know, and talking to a few of the girls early in the season, you guys had a bit of a pre-season away, got to know each other really well.
No, that was good. Good.
Yeah, that's vital, right? Because it's got to be, you've got to, you know, you look out for it. And there would have been games this year where drawing on those, you know, relationships, those, you know, brings that bond of the team together. That's imperative these days, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like those first few team bonding sessions are really important. Just trying to get to know each other, just not even about soccer, just about each other. And, you know, the rest will fall into place later, and it's all a part of the process, I think. So, I feel like it is pretty important.
No, absolutely. And who's the and I've heard a few different names bandied around, but who's the clown jester in the team? Who's the one who's always going on and trying to stir people up? I mean, there's a few names mentioned, so you won't be highlighting anyone in particular. Who do you reckon?
I'm trying to think, because there is a fair few.
Yeah.
Maybe Ash. If I had to choose one, it would probably be Ash. She's pretty funny. Yeah. Anything that comes out of her mouth, you just laugh.
I mean, again, to see us, you know, that game we spoke about before where she went in goals and she's on the
you can just tell just by that. Yeah.
I mean, really, it's like, you know, it's just unbelievable. So, she's certainly been mentioned a few times. Let's just put it that way as well. And as the season's panned out, you know, we've sort of been playing we've had some really great results. Any games in particular that have stood out for you this year?
Probably the game against Sydney FC that we were talking about is definitely my highlight of the whole season, because that really showed us who we were. And, you know, Ash sitting in that position, which, you know, she never does, and she put her hand straight up for it and was like, I'll go for it. So, I feel like everyone was pushing and just wanting to work with each other in that game. And, you know, we won, which was even better. So, that was probably a game that I would love to relive. So,
Absolutely. We all think it, because it was a pretty chilly night from memory, I think it's because she got the long sleeve goalkeeper jersey on. I reckon that's probably why she volunteered to it. The belief in the team at the moment too, it seems like, you know, and I was just speaking to Em a bit earlier, I don't think there's a team in the top 6 that we can't beat. I mean, we've had some great results against everyone else. Is that the belief amongst you guys too, that, you know what, doesn't matter who we play, where we play, bring them on?
Yeah, no, 100%. No, but the team, I think we all just believe in each other, and we never do have a doubt about who we're going to verse. We're always up for the challenge anyways, even if it is a hard team like Victory who we're versing. So, but we're definitely not afraid or anything. So, we're definitely up for the challenge and have every belief in everyone. So,
Absolutely. And what about pre-game for you? Are you a real pre-game nervous type, or are you the coolest cat in the house?
What do I do? So for games, I've always got my hairstyle. Always, I don't think I can change that. That's just the plait. I always have that. I'm not too fussed, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, I'm not too actually fussed at all. Just a rock up and I do my hair and that's it. I'm ready.
Do your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you someone who likes to get your foot on the ball early? Like if you haven't touched the ball in the first minute or so, you start getting a bit just, can someone give me the ball?
That is kind of me. I'm always looking up. I'm like, oh, when have I touched the ball? I'm looking at the minutes. I'm like, oh, 10 minutes. I need to get on something.
Yeah.
I need to go get the ball. I'm like, can't be just running around, not touching the ball. So yeah, that's definitely something I do.
Absolutely. And I mean, and again, I mean, I know that first game of the year, we talked about that Newcastle game, and I think probably nerves got to us a bit in that game. It was the occasion. Going to be a big occasion on Sunday, Melbourne victory at their ground, elimination final. What do we do to keep the nerves out of it? I think the start's really going to be important for us, right?
Yeah, no, definitely starting off strong and probably just those first 5 minutes is the most important. You know, that's where we set the standard and how we want to play and stuff. So, yeah, well, nerves are good. So I hope we all have nerves because they always turn out to be not too bad in the end of the day. But yeah, no, I'm super excited and I'm sure all the other girls as well going to be up for the challenge 100%.
Absolutely. No, you'll be fine. We absolutely know that. And what about the gap? Because it seems we've had a couple of men's games in between the last time you guys have played, and those games have gone past the 90 minutes with winners as well. It feels like forever since you guys have played. Has it felt like a long time between drinks for you guys?
Yeah, it has been a few. Yeah, I feel like I've been training for ages and just wanting this game to come already. Yeah, 'cause it's been a fair few, but yeah, super excited still.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping. Well, I'm sure that getting out there and getting a result, and hopefully it means we can get a final back on the Central Coast, or at least a little bit closer than Melbourne would be nice as well. What do we have to do really, really well in the game against Melbourne? Is there one fundamental thing? We've had we've had two decent results against them, only a 1-goal loss and a 1-1 draw. What do we have to make sure you do well against this Melbourne side?
What do we need? I feel like just giving our all, just at the start, the first 5 minutes, like I said, just getting stuck in it and not giving them anything, no time to breathe, no nothing, and then it'll work out, and just working our asses off basically.
Yeah, absolutely, and a few 30-yard screamers will help too, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
Well, Izzy Gomez, as I said, I think you're arguably, I think you're the best midfielder in the whole league, and I can't wait to see you do your thing on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on the show and having a bit of a chat with it. It's been absolutely awesome, and all the best for Sunday, hey?
Thanks heaps. Thanks for having me.
No worries. We'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.
See ya. And that brings us to the end of an absolute cracker of an episode. A massive thank you in the week of the final to chat to M Husband, to chat to Izzy Gomez, and for Dan MacCamley to join in. Dan is an absolute legend when it comes to helping out the channel, and we love listening to him, whether it be the men's or the women's competitions. He does such a great job as they do there on with the A team. CoastFM963. If you're not at the game, make sure you get them in your ears. They are the best that there is in the biz. That's our episode. Looking forward to this game on Sunday. It's sudden death. It's hopefully we can get out there and get a win and somehow get a final back here in Gosford, back under the palms and the sauce bottles. How good would that be? I reckon we would fill the joint, but it is one step at a time. Let's take on this weekend first. Don't forget, this will be the last recorded episode for a few weeks as we are on the way to moving the studio, as it were, to a different location. And we'll be setting it up and getting it all ready and bringing you more content very, very soon. But there will be some stuff from the vault coming your way. Go the Mariners. Look forward to this game of the weekend. Just on the side, how good are the men going at the moment too? top of the comp as we record this. How good is that? Looking forward to seeing how they go as well. Looking forward to seeing your comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, whether you do it on YouTube or whether you do it through Spotify, whether you do it through iHeartRadio, whether you do it through Amazon, whether you do it through Google. Don't forget to give us a like, a heart, a follow, a tick. They all have their own different things, right? But make sure you follow us around. Let the other Mariners fans know that we are here too. I think that's about it. What a cracker of an episode. What a cracker of a game going to be on the weekend. Looking forward to it. It's been the Marty Mariner Show.